Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to go through all the books that I read in November. I realized I really didn't post anything. I've been filming 2 vlogs side by side and I haven't finished either one of them, so I wasn't able to get any other videos posted in November. It is December 1st. I figured let's just talk about the books that I'm currently filming in vlogs anyway, and I'm technically spoiling them for you when I do eventually post those vlogs. But there are some books that are not part of that that I've also been either reading on audio or outside of it. So yeah, anyway, I don't think that made any sense. Probably not, but if you just want to see what I read this month, I did DNF, but they were soft DNFs, a couple books this month, but I read 7 books in total and I have them here to share. I also am going to go through all the books that I'm currently reading at the end of the video, just to give you like a heads up as to what I'm currently reading, because obviously you haven't seen those vlogs that I've been filming for the last 4 weeks or so. So anyway, let's get into it. So let's start with the book that I read first this month. Oh my gosh, when I think back to November, it seems like a lifetime away. So I think the first week and a half, I didn't read anything in November, so I definitely had a very slow start, and that's why I read less. But I did end up reading Twisted Love by Ana Juan. I gave this 2 stars. I really didn't like it. I'm so glad that I did not buy any of the other books in the series, because there's a lot, and I kind of regret buying a lot of other books in other series that I have that I'm actually currently reading. But I'm so glad I didn't buy all the Twisted books, because I just don't like it. I thought it was so bad, and if this is the type of love that you're pining over, then I think, you know, I think you need, I mean, I wouldn't say you have issues, but I think maybe you need to learn a different type of love, because this is not romantic. This is not like what I'm pining for. So I gave it a 2 star. I read it really fast and I did not enjoy it one bit. I was reading Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia Fairies by Heather Fawcett at the same time as that, and at first this was pretty slow for me. I didn't get into it that fast, but as I got into it, oh my goodness, this was so delightful. That's like the perfect word for this. This was so cozy, so delightful, and I really didn't tab too much of it, because once I just started getting into it, I just started enjoying it so much. It's definitely a book that I will reread. I just really love the dynamic between Emily and Wendell. I think Wendell was so lovely, so delightful and charming. I think he's like the pinnacle of like, just really charming character, and the way that they were together I thought was really sweet. I did think the story, when you got to like the end of the book, it was a little bit silly, but I actually at that point didn't even mind that, and I will be picking up the second book. I gave this a 5 star. It really surprised me. I did not expect to like this book as much as I did. Even after people have spoken about it, a lot of people said it was boring, a lot of people loved it, a lot of people really didn't get it and didn't like it at all. I thankfully was one of the people that really did like it, and I can see why people would find it boring, because in terms of like an actual story, not much happens in the book, but it's more about the characters and learning about, the different fae and the lore about that, or at least in this book. And this is up for the Good Choice Awards. I've actually voted for it, so we'll see if it gets picked up. I don't think it will, because it just is not like an epic fantasy book. It's just a really cozy, cute little vibe. But I'm glad that it's actually at least nominated, because I enjoyed it, and there's hardly any books that were nominated that obviously I've read. So I saw this one and I was like, oh, I'm gonna vote for that. So I voted for it twice, and yeah, I just think this was a really cute book. So I was so happy to have read a 5 star this month, and obviously this is it. Alright, so next up, one of my vlogs is reading Throne of Glass, like the whole series. I've started reading it, and I have every single book, including the novellas. So I started with Assassin's Blade, where you have the 4 or 5 different novellas. I think it's 5. And I read this and I tabbed it quite a bit. I gave this 3 star. I thought it was fine. It's real YA, because the character's like 16 years old. So I did feel a little bit weird like reading the story. But I liked that she was an assassin. I liked the pirate novella one, and I also liked the last two novellas at the end. I think the ones in the middle were like, why do I need to care about this? But actually, upon reading like more of the story, it really does give a good understanding of Selena and where she's come from, and how she guards herself, and how hurt she's been by certain people and everything. So I did read this next, and I gave it a 3-star. I didn't think it was amazing. 3 stars, like middle of the road for me. It's not terrible, but it's not like something that I would necessarily recommend to anyone. But I think as a starter to build upon the Throne of Glass series, which I now kind of understand what the whole series is about, I think this is fine. I think it's fine. Do you necessarily need this to read the series? I don't think you do, but it's here and I read it, so. Okay, I don't exactly know which book I read next, but I also read Throne of Glass this last month and tagged it as well. This one I gave a 4-star. I thought this was a lot better. Obviously you have the romance in there, you have a huge triangle in this book, and obviously that carries forth in the next book. I don't know how much of that triangle actually carries forth for the whole series, because I think that another love interest is introduced to the current book that I'm reading in the series. So yeah, I told you I'm spoiling the video that's going to be coming out soon, hopefully by the time that I finish this series, which I'm hoping is going to be this month. But anyway, I read this, I gave it a 4-star. I thought it was better. It's not amazing, but definitely a bump up from the first book. And you know, I like the romance side of things, and honestly I find these books very easy to read. I know that Sarah J Maas gets a lot of hate, and I haven't read enough books to really compare her to other authors that write in this genre, and so I don't have that in me. Like, I don't know why people don't like her, but you know, I think it's fine. I enjoyed her writing. Obviously I don't think it's amazing epic writing, but I also don't read epic fantasy or not that many other romantasy books. So for me, I've actually quite enjoyed it, and I gave this one a 4-star. Okay, so next up, part of another vlog that I'm doing, which I won't really explain it, but it's kind of pulling books in my shelves that like using a random number generator, basically. Like, one book is pulled from each of my shelves, and I've had 5 books to read. I have been working through that at the same time as reading Throne of Glass series, so you can see why, like, I haven't been able to finish either one of those vlogs, because I'm actually reading quite a lot of books at the moment. But having said that, I didn't finish that many books this last month because it's just taken a long time, and I had a really slow start to the month. But one of them was the second book in the Crown of Nixa series. This is Carissa Broadbent. This is the second book, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. I have, my copy doesn't have the sleeve because I ordered it wanting to mirror the first book, which I do have on my shelf up here somewhere. And obviously it was secondhand when I ordered it, because that current volume you can't even get because it's being reprinted with different covers. So I purposely bought this thinking it would match, and they didn't even send like the actual sleeve. So that was very annoying. But anyway, I started reading this. This is also a nominee in the Good Choice Awards. I do not know why. I liked the first book. I gave the first book 4 stars. I thought it was fine. There was a lot of issues with it, but I still enjoyed it enough, and I liked the vampire aspect. I liked the trials aspect enough that I like kind of glossed over the issues that I had, which was actually a lot to do with the writing. I didn't think the writing was all that great in terms of world building, and also just like describing the battles and stuff. I thought it was very vague. And this book, it really becomes glaringly obvious that Carissa, I don't want to be mean, but I just don't think she writes well enough for this type of book to really like work, basically. And also, nothing happens in this book. Like, right at like the end of the last book I thought was so good, because there is kind of a cliffhanger where you're not really sure how the story is going to go either way, because, you know, there's a little bit of twist, and I really like that. And then this book starts off right after that, and really she kind of goes back on it. Nothing really changes. It's all resolved, and this is like over 600 pages worth of real nonsense. You know, there is a big battle, but also the battle itself doesn't seem like the stakes are really that high, because the way that it's described, I don't think it's well done. And so yeah, I gave this a 2-star, and I don't know why everyone is giving this 5 and 4 stars on Goodreads. They must just be, I don't know, are they paid? Are they reading the same book? Because everyone that's given it a 2 or a 1 star are saying the same thing as me and like thinking the same as me. And so everyone else, what are they reading? Are they reading a different version of this book? Because I just thought it was really bad, and I spent a little bit more money than I should have for this. And I wish I hadn't, to be honest, but you wouldn't know that I wouldn't have enjoyed it looking at the reviews, because the majority of reviews are 4 and 5 stars. So yeah, I gave this a 2. It was a chore to read. The first one I read in 2 days, and it was very, very easy. And that's not, you know, the shortest book. I think that's like 300, maybe 400 pages. This one, you could have taken half of it out and the story wouldn't have changed. And I think the sad part is, like, there's some cool aspects in this story, but it's just, it wasn't done well. And so I had to give it 2-star, and I just don't think I'm gonna read anything else from Carissa Broadbent, because the issues that I had with her writing in the first book were in this one, and I feel like they're probably going to be in all her other books, and that's just the preference for me. I would like a little bit more of understanding what's going on in the battle. It's just a little too vague, and the inner dialogues are very cringy, and I don't know, I gave it a 2-star. It just didn't vibe for me, unfortunately. That was a big disappointment for this month. Another one that I really struggled with is How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. Now, I tried to actually physically read this book and I could not, so I listened to it on Audible, and thank goodness I did. I actually listened to it on double speed because I really just wanted to get through this book. And I don't know, this book is so dense, like the way that it's written. Somebody said this on, and I think I said this in my video that's in my vlog anyway, but somebody put it so great on Goodreads, and I don't know what the quote is, but they basically tell you instead of showing you the story, right? It's really just the, what's her name? Grace. She's in prison for a murder that she did not commit, but however she starts writing down a book of all of the people that she has killed, which are people in her family, and there's like little stories of how she did it. And honestly, the reasons, like, she's a total nutcase, right? When you really like boil down to it, she has absolutely no reason to kill any of these people. Yeah, maybe they're morally gray in terms of, you know, not being like good people, but they're not mass murderers. They're not like, they're not horrible people that deserve to die. She's killing innocent people, and the problem is we as a reader are supposed to be on her side and find it comical and satirical and, you know, things like that, but she is so unlikable. It does the opposite, and I couldn't care less, and that's why I put it on double speed. I just wanted to get through it. I didn't want to DNF it because I wanted to know like what goes on, and there is a little bit of a aha at the end, but I didn't care at that point, and I also thought that was a really weak ending, so I also gave this 2-star. Yeah, you know, at least, I mean, I had Emily Wilde give me a 5-star, but all these other books, I mean, actually Throne of Glass have been saving the day too, but that's 3 2-star reads already. Not good. All right, the last book that I actually officially finished this month is Crown of Midnight. I read this in, I want to say like a day and a half. I don't even think it was 2 days. I read this so quickly, tabbed it again. This is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass. Technically the 2nd one in the official series if you don't read the novella one. This one I gave, on Goodreads I gave it a 5, but I think it's probably more 4.5. I don't think it's perfect, but I definitely enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the love triangle, and I liked the first half of this book more so for that reason than like the love story. It pulled me. I've read a lot of reviews where people don't like Chal character. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but in my mind he's called Chal. I don't know if that's really how you pronounce it, but a lot of people don't like him. They find him boring, overprotective, but I think the way he's written, I actually don't mind it. He's not Tamlin to me. Like, I think he probably could be another Tamlin, because I think there is going to be another love interest, and I don't think he's the end game love interest. Just, I don't want to spoil it for myself, but that's what I'm thinking so far. But anyway, I gave it a 4.5, pretty high score. I really enjoyed it, read it super fast. Loved the first half, and then the second half is a lot more action. Like, there's 2 parts in this book. You get to part 2 and you're like, oh shit, what, you know, things are gonna go down now. It completely flips, does a 180, and Selena that's kind of where, you know, her character shifts and you can see her vulnerabilities. And I think a lot of what happens in the novellas gives you a little understanding of why she reacts the way that she does, like, so strongly. However, I didn't really like that part of it. So, you know, I was like, oh, come on, please, why are you doing this to me? So I maybe for that reason I gave it a 4.5. I'm not entirely sure, but, you know, and I think it was okay. I think the story is fine. I think you know, what you find out about her and, like, the bigger picture of the world and, like, really what's going on is fine too. I didn't really care either way. I kind of like the love story. I'm not gonna lie. So this one I gave it a 4.5, and I did enjoy it. I did. I forgot to mention the 2 books that I've basically DNF'd, but I'm soft DNFing them. I will come back to them. It's just I started reading them, I think, back in October, and I just did not want to read them. So the first one is Hex by Thomas Oldhubelt. I did read Echo, really enjoyed it in October, and I was like, oh, you know, let me read this one, and I just couldn't get into it. I read a little bit of maybe the first 2 chapters, and then I was like, I need to get back to this when I'm in the mood. So if this was on Audible, I would listen to it, but it's not on Audible, unfortunately. I just haven't been able to get into it. So when I'm in the mood, I will definitely come back to it. I'm not, like, saying I'm not going to read it at all, because it's supposed to be good, so I'm hoping that it is. Another one is The Nature of Witches. I did start reading this, and I really enjoyed it. I think you saw it in one of my vlogs, and I did speak about it, but I have not wanted to pick it up once at all in November. So these 2 I've been, you know, kind of avoiding and neglecting, and I've told myself I'm DNFing, but it's a soft DNF. I will come back to them. Okay, so some books that I have been reading but have not finished. I have been reading Be Useful by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I actually just finished that this morning, but because it's December 1st, I'm going to count it for December. But I could have finished it last night. I only had like 2 hours left on the Audible. So I was reading that. I won't give my review today. I'll just save it for my December wrap up. So that one's I've been reading. I think I already mentioned that I wanted to read it. I just like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I have since I was a young child. And, you know, I thought it was pretty fascinating. Another book that I've been reading that has not been any vlogs is the episode 13, and this is by Craig DeLuey. This one I'm also listening to on Audible. It's the production Audible as well. Oh my goodness, it is very bizarre listening to it. Actually, I really wanted to DNF this book. I think the first like 20%, 30% of the book, I was like, I do not know if I can listen to this. I have like 6 more hours. How am I going to actually pay attention to what's going on? But last night I ended up listening to a lot. I'm actually like 70% in now. I wouldn't say I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but I know what's going on. Like, there's a story now, there's a plot. It's a little bit more interesting. I know who the characters are. Like, at first, because in the production on Audible, they're all different characters, different narrators. So it took me a while to figure out who was talking at certain points and who that character was. But basically it is a ghost hunter crew, although they don't consider themselves ghost hunters. So it's technically a reality show, and this is the 13th episode that they're filming, and that they're at this haunted house. And there is like some of them who are more skeptical about whether ghosts exist or not, and some of them are fully invested. And yeah, it's very slow and very boring to start off with, I will say. I don't know where it's gonna go either way. I'm not finding it scary at all. Honestly, I find it a little stupid and a little bit comical. So I don't know if it's supposed to be scary. If it is, it's just not coming across at all. It just seems a bit goofy to me. So I'm listening to that and I'm almost done. I'll probably finish that in the next day or two. All right, other books that I am reading. I've got The House on the Cerulean Sea. This one I'm really enjoying. This is really cute, cozy. It's by TJ Klune. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I have. I'm only read like 50 pages though, but I think it's really sweet and cute, and I can imagine, like, this to me reminds me of the Emily Wilde book of Encyclopedia, where it's very, very, very cozy and gives you like these warm vibes, and it's kind of like, I don't know, kooky in a way, and that I really liked that. So I haven't come back to that, but I am like currently reading this. But as you can see, I'm just trying to get through a lot of books at the moment. Another one that I started reading a few days ago is Reckless by Elsie Silver. This is in my vlog where I'm trying to pick a random book in my shelves. So is this one actually. So yeah, I'm just trying to read them and not try. I usually should just read one book at a time. This tends to not really work out for me when I start reading everything all at once. But I did just start this yesterday, and this one I'm like 50 pages in. So I straight away don't think I'm gonna like this book, and I'm kind of annoyed with myself because this is an author where I bought like all her books, or like all the books in this series, and I shouldn't have. I should have just bought the one and seen if I liked it. I just don't think I like these types of romance books. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Twisted Love for me. I'm probably going to give this a 3-star. Even at page 50, I can kind of see where it's going, but it might surprise me. Maybe I'll end up loving it, but it's just one of these typical, like, city girl ends up in the country. She's going to fall in love with the bull rider guy, and there's a little bit of trauma in here. Like, right at the start of the book, I wouldn't have bought this book actually had I known, but there is a trigger warning for miscarriage and infertility, and I was just like, why am I reading a book about this? But there is that in this book, so that's annoying. And then the last book that I'm currently reading, I actually have another book that I'm supposed to read in my vlog, and then all of the rest of the Throne of Glass books as well that I have yet to start. However, the one that I actually have started is this one, Heir of Fire, which is the one right after the last one, Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. And this one, I'm only on page 31. So just started it, but already I think there is a new love interest in here. So instead of a love triangle, it seems like it might be a love quarter. I don't really know. But yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this book. We'll see. It's a chunky book. This is really long, this one. I mean, how many? What is it? It's over 500 pages. It's pretty chunky. And we'll see. We'll see how I do. But that's kind of everything that I've been reading and am reading. It feels like a lot, but when I actually look at it, it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Is it a lot? I guess it is a lot. I guess it is. Like, sometimes I'm in the reading bug and I can read a book in like a day or two, and other times it takes me absolutely forever. Like this Emily Wilde, this took me forever to read, but by the time that I got to the point where I actually was enjoying it, I read it super fast. I think if a book doesn't capture me in the first like 20% or like first quarter of the book, it's like a slog. Or even the first 50 pages, I'm like, I'm not really sure. But I can't say no to it at that point, because I felt that way with this book. I was like, I'm not really sure if I'm going to like it. And then I ended up loving it. So I can't really DNF books straight away. However, there's certainly books here that I probably could have, which is unfortunate. But anyway, here we are. That is everything that I read in November, everything that I'm currently reading, and obviously a lot of spoilers for my upcoming vlogs, which I have yet to edit, yet to finish, because I don't want to do that until I actually finish the books and have opinions on everything. So yeah. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Thank you so much for watching. If you clicked on the video and you're new here, thank you so much. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.